Why is a good romance so hard to come by these days? Well, there are 4 reasons why, and there are only 2 anime that I think has fit this criteria perfectly. But first, let's define what a romance anime is. A romance anime focuses on the characters' romantic relationships as the plot, not just a shonen with romance on the side. We're talking about the shows where romance is the heart and soul of the story. Back then, when I started anime, I was like anybody else and wanted to watch the top romance anime. Toradora, Kaicho Maid-sama, Oragairu, Clannad, High School D... Nisekoi, Your Lie in April, all of these were absolute masterpieces in one way or another. But these anime were over 10 years ago. Wait, 10 years? God damn! And now romance is kind of stuck in a loop of no progression. Here are 4 reasons why. One of the first reasons is overused tropes. We all know the phrase, all romance have a beach episode. The tsundere always wins. The main character is denser than the earth itself. And the last episode is a confession and a kiss at the end of the story. While some anime try to break the cycle of tropes with a little twist here and there, they still feel like a generic romance. Tomo-chan is a tomboy that confesses first episode, Nagatoro is a girl that bullies the MC, Aharen is about a tiny girl getting too close, Shikimori's not just cutie, has a cool girlfriend and a clumsy boyfriend. These shows cater to different niches and aren't necessarily bad, but they don't stand out either. However, 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You takes the trope to the whole new level. With an MC who's a total Chad, rizzing up moms, girls, and even grandmas. It's a crazy anime that I respect for trying to break the regular tropes. But even that misses a key point into what makes a great romance. Character development often becomes a stumbling block when romance anime try to differentiate themselves with unique characters and settings. Many of the newer romance series tend to focus on the cute moments and maybe even some fan service, rather than developing deep and meaningful characters. However, anime like Horimiya and Insomniacs After School really stand out because they excel in character development, allowing their characters to grow and evolve in meaningful ways. But the biggest shout out has to go to Working, which takes a large cast of characters that initially seem like simple tropes and gradually develops them into well-rounded, mature individuals. For example, take the character Sota Takanashi, who starts off as a typical guy with his quirk for loving small, cute things. Over time though, we see him challenge his own preconceived notions and grow through his interactions with his coworkers, particularly with the aloof and sometimes intimidating Mahiru Inami. What begins as a light-hearted comedy about workplace antics slowly unfolds into a series where characters' growth is meaningful and impactful. This kind of character development is something that I truly admire, as it turns what could have been a predictable narrative into a deeply engaging story. The show takes its time to peel back the layers of each character, allowing us to see vulnerabilities, their struggles, and ultimately their growth. It's a testament to how even the most cliche characters can become memorable and relatable, given the right amount of care and attention. However, even with such strong character development, there's still a sense that something is missing, an element that could elevate these stories even further. Pacing is a crucial aspect that needs to be addressed when discussing romance anime. While I've mentioned that some shows might miss certain elements needed for a great romance, I want to emphasize that I still love almost all the anime that I've talked about. They each have their own unique charm. However, pacing is an issue that can't be ignored. You might find it strange that I consider ReUpload to have a pacing issue, but hear me out. Despite its brilliance, the show does skip a lot of time, which can make the narrative feel disjointed. For instance, in ReUpload, there are moments where the story jumps ahead by several months without exploring the developments in the characters' relationships during the time. And if you've seen season 2, you'll notice how this approach, while innovative, can leave viewers feeling like they've missed key emotional beats. On the other hand, Kaguya-sama Love is War is a masterclass in balancing pacing with storytelling. The series does almost everything perfectly. The comedic romance plot, the character development, and pacing all work together seamlessly. Take the first kiss arc from season 3. The show carefully builds up tension over several episodes, with Kaguya and Shirogane's battle of wits reaching its peak during the school festival. The pacing is meticulous, allowing the comedy to flourish while gradually deepening the emotional connection between the characters. The episode Dual Confessions is a perfect example where the tensions finally release in a beautifully orchestrated scene that blends humor with genuine emotion, making the payoff incredibly satisfying. However, even with all its strengths, Kaguya-sama Love is War does have one notable exception. It doesn't fully explore the depth of human emotions in a way that other romance might. The show thrives on exaggerated situations and over-the-top character dynamics, which is part of its charm. The intricate mind games and comedic tension between the characters are what makes Kaguya-sama stand out, and its very element that keep us glued to the screen. The lack of deeper emotional exploration doesn't really detract from its brilliance, because Kaguya-sama is more about the clever interplay and the build of romantic tension than diving into complexities about real-life relationships. But while Kaguya-sama does successfully play into its strengths, there is an aspect in most romance anime that I think is crucial to truly impact the story. And that's where we lead into realism. Realism is definitely hard to define, and something that doesn't really resonate with everyone watching, as everybody's a different age. However, it plays a crucial role in making relationships feel genuine and relatable. One major issue that has been bugging me is the overwhelming prevalence of high school settings in romance anime. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed many of the romances that have come out in the recent years, but there's a growing desire among fans for more of a mature setting. High school is a limited experience, and viewers who have moved beyond that stage in life crave stories that reflect the adult relationships and challenges. For example, My Tiny Senpai attempts to move away from the high school backdrop, setting its romance in a workplace. However, the characters still behave as if they are in high school, which breaks the immersion and undermines the realism. If you are going to set a story outside of high school, the characters should exhibit behaviors and challenges appropriate to the setting. You could literally put their characters in high school and it would exactly be the same as any other romance anime. This is where the romance, Wotakoi, Love is Hard for the Otaku, shines. It perfectly portrays the romantic and social lives of adults, capturing the complexities and nuances of balancing work, hobbies, and relationships. No more of that nonsensical embarrassment or grand confession. No, they just get straight to it and just try to figure out their problems as they go along. Another great example is The Dangers in My Heart, which, despite having a younger cast, I know I just talked about how I was annoyed about high school, but this anime really explores the deep emotional connections and personal growth. You can see how these two characters, they were really immature at first, but really grow as the show goes on, showing that you can have depth and maturity, even in a seemingly typical setting.